the Republican field for the President of the United States is getting really interesting. We are 2 months away from the Iowa caucus. We already know where Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, and even Vivek Ramaswamy stands with the American people. Welcome back to Passionate Take. This is a show that I've been wanting to come to you because, like I said, 2024 presidential election is the crucial presidential election. I know it seems like it's a cliche. We say that every time 4 years roll around, people are lining up at the polls to vote for the next president of the United States. But we're seeing what's going on in our country. Inflation is out of control. People are struggling. And it's time for the American people to wake up and realize there's a new path forward. There's a new leader that we can elect to lead our country. Now, talking about right now on the Republican side of the field, Donald Trump has not shown up to any of the debates. He feels he doesn't need to show up. He's up in 40, 50 points in some of the polls. But Donald Trump's also dealing with legal issues. As you know, Donald Trump currently right now is in New York dealing with a civil case that has to do with his property and how he's overinflating them. He also has the document case that's dealing with Mar-a-Lago and the Georgia election pressuring Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to overturn that state so that Donald Trump will win the state of Georgia and not Joe Biden. But after numerous counts, recount show that Joe Biden won that state. And now it's just more legal trouble for Donald Trump. But let's talk about the candidates who are actually on the debate stage to try to win the nomination to represent the Republican Party. A lot of excitement for these candidates. And recently you heard Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina suspend his campaign. Before that, about a week earlier, former Vice President Mike Pence also announced he will suspend his campaign.
But the Bible tells us that there's a time for every purpose under heaven. And traveling across the country over the past 6 months, I came here to say it's become clear to me this is not my time.
But this field is still large. What we know right now is who is going to challenge Donald Trump. Donald Trump won the presidential election in 2016. He lost in 2020, and now here he is again in 2024, wanting to be the Republican nominee. But standing in his way is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, also Governor of South Carolina, and businessman Vivek Ramaswamy. You know that Ramaswamy, he has got some cute clicks, and he also got some viral with some of the things that he said recently at the third debate. He really went after Governor Haley and former UN Ambassador, how the fact that her daughter used TikTok and how can she regulate it if she were to elect it as President of the United States. And you know what Nikki Haley said back to him? You're just scum. But that's not just the crux of the matter. When you hear Vivek Ramaswamy, he is like a mouthpiece for Donald Trump. Everything that he thinks is best for the American people, he thinks that will win over the Trump base, he's regurgitating those facts. But he doesn't have a record to stand on. Vivek Ramaswamy, while he may get some people that like for him, they wanted somebody new, they want a fresh voice, they want a younger voice, they may gravitate to Vivek Ramaswamy. But I'm here to tell you, Vivek Ramaswamy, it's not his time. He needs to realize that and suspend his campaign before we get to the Iowa caucus. Governor Haley, surging in the polls, doing an outstanding job. As of recently, she's now up to second place in the state of New Hampshire. I'm not really surprised by that. I never thought that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis would do well in New Hampshire. Sure, he may have Governor Chris Sununu campaigning for him, and he will campaign for anybody but Donald Trump. But I just never thought that state would be one that Ron DeSantis will be able to get in the primary. But talking about the Iowa caucus, which is the first state to vote, Ron DeSantis knows That is his biggest challenge. He has to win that state. That's the state that he's setting out. He's going out full force. He's putting a lot of people going, knocking door to door, kissing babies, going to barbecue, going out, shaking hands with people and saying, look at my record.
The pressure to shut down, to quote, shelter in place, to keep our kids out of school was unbelievable. And it came from every corner, even from the White House. You know, most leaders, they buckled under that pressure. They listened to Fauci instead of the real science. But there was one man running for president who did not. Ron DeSantis. When the liberals and media came after him, he stood his ground. When the Trump administration let Fauci lead their response, Ron had the courage to say, not in Florida.
Look at what I did in Florida, the Sunshine State. I can implement those same policies for the American people. We will not shut down our state, our country because of COVID. Okay? We will use science. We will use all of the science. We will not let our country be overtaken by terrorist groups or illegal people that shouldn't be here in the first place. We will not let our country be run by thugs, by people that have agenda that does not match with our own. So Ron DeSantis and the people of Floridians know this for a fact, that he's a person who stands up and fight for them and deliver for them. So this race, like I said, Donald Trump is currently the leader, as he should be. He's an incumbent. He's been the president before. He has name recognition. Okay? Before Donald Trump ever entered into politics, he was on The Apprentice, a show that did very well. There's no question about that. NBC wanted to renew his contract, but he wanted to throw his hat in the ring and become president of the United States. But you look at once Donald Trump was elected, the American people prosper. That is true. There's no denying that. But there are among other things that he didn't deliver on. Building the border wall. Now he can say the Democrat didn't do any favor, and of course they didn't. He's a Republican. They're not going to help him, but he didn't finish the border wall. He didn't fire Dr. Fauci when he should have. Dr. Fauci keep moving the goalposts every single time, causing a lot of distrust among the American people. How are we supposed to believe our health and the science to back up if we pick and choose what we like to report to the media and what we believe in because we feel it fit our narrative? And that's why he lost a lot of the American people. When you watch my show, I will always be 100% completely honest with you about where we are as a country, what we can do to improve this country, and the path that we can choose to go forward, a path of prosperity, a path of honoring. And always remember to put the Lord Jesus Christ first in everything that we do. A path that will lead not only to prosperity for ourselves, but our children, our great-grandchildren, and for further generation. And that's what I think sometimes get lost in this battle is politics has become so tribalism. It's not about the qualification. It's not about what you have done for me. It's not about the record. People have gravitated to certain individuals, and Donald Trump knows this for a fact. There are 28 to 32% of the American people that have a ride or die mentality with Donald Trump. They think he's always being targeted. They think that he's being treated unfairly. The Russia hoax, that was a hoax. The Durham report confirmed that Donald Trump was being targeted, and they should have never launched into Crossfire Hurricane looking into Trump campaign colluding with the Kremlin, Vladimir Putin. That was a hoax. Okay? But Donald Trump knows, and I think Donald Trump owed it to the American people to stand on the debate stage, and if he wants 4 more years to be president of the United States, and a lot of people want this, he should debate Ron DeSantis, he should debate Nikki Haley. But really, we see this And like I mentioned before, Ramaswamy and Chris Christie will not be the nominee. What they need to do is realize it's not their time and withdraw from this race. As we get further down into the primary season, and like I said, we're 2 months away from the Iowa caucus, it's a race between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis. Before I continue in this show, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Also, thank you for those of you that have subscribed to my channel. If you haven't, please take a second and smash the subscribe button so that every time I upload new content, you are notified. But like I mentioned, we know what is going on in our country. We know that Joe Biden is 81 years old. Father Time is undefeated. It's not just relevant in sports, it's relevant in all aspects of life. And Donald Trump is not far behind. He is 77-year-old. So over 70% of the American people do not want to see this rematch. I do not want to see this rematch. It's time for a fresher, newer voice to lead our country.
Who looks to the future and not the past. Someone who most importantly can win. And that person is Ron DeSantis. And it is why I am so proud to stand here tonight and give him my full support and endorsement for President of the United States of America.
It's time for we to elect, the American people to elect a leader that is worthy to be on the world stage, to be at the G20 summit, a leader that has the full interest and the best interest of the American people. Sure, we must help our allies. There's absolutely no question about that. But we got to take care of our people first. How about we elect a leader that not only look out for the world's interest, but what's the interest of the American people? And that's the leader that we need to get behind. I think so many, oftentimes we look at it and we elect the people for name recognition, for convenience, because our parents will raise us to be that way. Why don't we do our own research and actually vote for the leader that ideally aligns with our way of thinking and do what is best for us? And we are not doing that. And it's just so embarrassing. We are watching what's happening on the world stage. When the President of the United States does not know where he's at, he's not there, he's not completely there. He's there physically, but clearly you don't have to have a dog in the fight. But you see when he's meeting with the leader of China, Xi Jinping, or Vladimir Putin, they are working him over. And that is not in the best interest of the American people. So like I said, I'll keep you updated on this race. Let's see what happens once we get to the Iowa caucus. Polls are just that. They are just polls. They are taking a small sample size of what the American people are thinking right now. Let's see what actually happens once we get to the primary, once we get to the Iowa caucus. Is Trump going to steamroll everybody like Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley? Or will the data prove to be wrong? And that's where you come in. You have the right, and I know this show is watched all around the world, but I'm speaking to you, the American people. As you watch this, do your own research. Vote for the person that you feel is best to nominate and to be the nominee for the Republican Party so that we can win in 2024. But it's a crucial race. It's a race we need to understand where these candidates stand. And I cannot stress it enough. Vivek Ramaswamy, you do not have a chance in this fight. You cannot be angling for the VP slot. Do the American people a favor, drop out of this race so that we get to the two contenders, and also right now Nikki Haley surging. But this race needs to really dwindle down so we can have a real debate and see who the American people will vote for. The longer this drags out, the longer it benefits Donald Trump. Let's see who the American people really like and who they would support if there was just Ron DeSantis versus Donald Trump. Thank you for staying tuned to the end of the show. Like I said, I love being back on Passionate Take. Leave a comment, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Also, smash the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so every time I upload new content, you are notified. Again, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.